We are now going to invite the other co-chair of the Elections Committee, Christy Wentworth, to ask several audience questions.
As Carter said, I'm Christy Wentworth. I am co-chair of the Elections Committee, and we're going to continue with some student questions that were submitted through OrgSync. We selected these questions based on issues that were not covered specifically in the previous debate questions. So we will start with Tim and Chris, and I'll read the first question. What specific measures do you propose to combat the recent study that female BC students leave the school with lower self-esteem than when they entered? What innovative initiatives will you take to break this cycle and to cultivate a campus culture that supports and validates BC women?
After that article appeared in the Heights a few weeks ago, Trugs and I were thinking about how we can combat this issue. And first and foremost is through UGBC's involvement with the Women's Resource Center. We've recently had great campaigns such as the Don't Skirt the Issue campaign, which both Trugs and I participated in to combat domestic violence. We have done that. However, more needs to be done. The feminism campaign that came up this week was another great initiative, and it's creative things like that that we wish to implement. I think another great thing would be to show our respect for the women working on this campus, the faculty members, the dining hall workers, and every other female employee here, because they are underappreciated in a rather male-dominated administration. And we need to make sure that we are showing our appreciation for them.
I think it comes from strong mentorship as well, and by including mentorship throughout from the top down. If you start by mentoring freshmen, allowing them to really have a strong stance and really teaching them how to treat women, how to treat them right, then you can help with women having a better positive self-esteem throughout their time in Boston College.
As I mentioned earlier, Matt and I's concern when we read this article, we were proactive in our positions this year to see if there's anything that we could do to make this process, to begin this process. Working with the WRC, Katie Dalton and I spoke, and she told me that this is a concern that they have, and not only from the WRC, but through the from all female faculty and staff, the students here at BC, and the undergraduate government. I do hope that we can go forward and create a BC that is a BC experience that enriches everyone and has people leaving here with a better self-esteem. I know, especially from my sister, who I spoke to earlier today, that she wants to come here to BC, and I couldn't tell her that something like that was happening right now, and that we're working on it to make it a better experience.
It's been a blessing for me to work as co-president of Asian Caucus with my co-president Gina Hall. And it's her example which encourages me to get more female students in positions of leadership, because only then can we promote self-esteem. Only then can we promote involvement. Only then can we have the experiences in which students can take ownership of and make BC special to them and leave with a higher self-esteem.
The issue of female self-esteem on this campus is hugely important, but another issue that isn't often brought up is that so many young women at Boston College feel the pressure to do and accomplish everything. There is an unattainable standard on this campus, and women often become over-involved and yet don't always reach these positions of power.
One of the things that we hope to do is bring the Elect Her campaign to Boston College, which educates women about the need for more women in student government positions and guides them through the campaign process. Molly is the only female at this table, and when we started this process, we went upstairs and we looked at each of the females and the president and the vice president, and there were only 15 combined. So we think this is a huge issue that needs to be tackled.
Student question, we'll start with Matt and Matt. All of you mentioned increasing funding or changing the way that RSOs are funded in your platforms. How do you plan on fostering a relationship between UGBC, SOFC, and student organizations?
Thank you for the question, whoever submitted it, because that's something which speaks deep to my heart as a president of an RSO. Let me say that the way to first foster that connection is getting more RSO leaders involved in UGBC. And we can do that with a strong executive vice president to foster connections with the RSO senators and the vice president of RSOs. The second way to do that is to make sure that UGBC better fosters RSO initiatives. There's a lot which can be done better in the RSO level, in terms of fostering the HANA community, in terms of getting educational events out there. By doing this, we can make sure that UGBC and RSOs are collectively working together to move Boston College forward.
Having spoken with people in SOFC, it is a difficult process for them to be limited to the funds that they have and make sure all RSOs achieve their goals. We hope to go forward with UGBC, Student Programs Office, and SOFC to find ways to add to their funding so your student activities fee can take you as far as you can with the BC experience.
I strongly feel that the most logical way to tackle this issue is by appointing an excellent vice president for student organizations, because that's why that position was created, to advocate for student organizations. The vice president for student organizations holds a seat on SOFC, and they will have 9 students on their board for student organizations who are the liaisons to the 9 cohorts of student organizations. They will be aware of the needs of those organizations and will be able to advocate for them for SOFC.
After serving for 2 years on a registered student organization and a culture club, I intimately know the problems that they are faced, including funding, the ability to bring cultural food onto campus, and publication of their events to the greater Boston College community. So I think it is an imperative that the Student Assembly advocate for these rights of these culture clubs and these registered student organizations.